Hey, what is up guys? It's Uniter back again with another Walking Dead video, and I'm kind of late for this because they posted this yesterday, but I was on vacation, so that's why I haven't been posting videos in a while, or the past week I haven't been posting videos, so I'm sorry for that. But basically what they did is posted this Q&A on the Reddit page where some of the people from Tellale answered some questions that some of the people on the Reddit put. So basically what I was going to do in this video is talk about the answers that Tellale did to some of the questions, and I'll put the full link to the full post in the description. You guys can check it out if you want. And I read some of the questions before I started making this video, and they're actually pretty interesting. Tellale actually answered some questions that a lot of people wanted to know. So here we go. I'm going to start with the first question, and again, I'll put the full post in the description. You guys can check it out for yourself if you guys want to see the rest of it. Let's hop into the first question / answer right now. Alright, so instead of picking the first question, the second question, and the third question, I think I'm actually going to pick out the best questions and answers. And basically what I mean by that is the best ones that a lot of fans want to know about, and a lot of stuff that was cut from this season and stuff like that. So if you guys want to check out the full post, like I said, I'll have the full post in the description. You guys can check out the remaining questions and answers that I didn't put in this video. But here we go. The first question is actually the actual first question for this post, and it's a question pertaining to the clip that we saw at E3 last year. That was about Javier and Clem walking around this city area, or this suburb area. I forget which one it was, but this is the picture right here where you can see there's a mark on Javier's neck, and you can see Clementine right next to him. So right here you can see there was that question, and then they answered what there was an earlier story with Javier that was forced to join the New Frontier group and branded against his will, and that was in order to prove his trustworthiness / earn his place in the New Frontier. But then he escaped, and he still needed to retrieve his family, which was David, Gabe, and Mariana, and then from their NF, which is the New Frontier captors. And then Clementine was also with them, like you see from the picture, but she was also searching for AJ. So that's kind of how that all worked out, where Javier was looking for his family and Clem was looking for AJ, but they kind of mixed it up in the actual story. And I've seen a lot of videos of the cut content with Javier and Clem at the slaughterhouse, which was like this prison area basically, and I really wished we got those scenes instead of what we got for this actual season. But I'm gonna talk more about what I'm talking about right now with the next questions and answers. So let's go ahead into the next question right now. The next question is pretty interesting. A lot of people probably want to know about this answer, but basically in episode 5 there was no flashback scene for Clementine, and in the previous episodes there was a lot of flashbacks in like episode 1, episode 2, 3, 4, whatever, and there was scenes going flashbacks with Clementine and her journey. But right here you can see that question, and then you can see that they answered with, we did have a cut flashback that originally appeared in episode 1 that happened before Clem actually met Lee in season 1. That flashback was never intended for episode 5 though. In general, we tried to use the Clementine flashbacks to both explain how her story and Javier's story became intertwined, to get player input on some key decisions that would help determine Clem's character in episode 5. So that's why there was no scene, and that's why I wish they put that in there. I don't know why they didn't put that in there. I guess they explained it right here, but I wish they put that in there. That would have been awesome to see little Clementine again, and maybe a little appearance of Lee in that flashback, who knows. But that would have been awesome. Maybe we'll get that in season 4 somehow. But let's move on to the next question. Here's another question that relates to the first question, but actually gives a lot more detail. And you can see right here, they ask, is there any previous alliterations for season 3 that was scrapped or cut? And they say right here, the first point is pretty interesting. They say that Max at one point in development died in the slaughterhouse in episode 1 after Javi found and took care of turned Mariana. So basically, like I said, the slaughterhouse was going to be this prison filled with zombies. There's a lot of pictures right here. You can see this picture, and then there's that one picture with Javier and the logo on his neck. But this picture is the main slaughterhouse like room. You can see that there's zombies all over the walls or the cells or whatever, and you can see that Javier and Clementine are walking through the hall. So that was a main picture for the slaughterhouse and for the initial creation for season 3. So there's that. And then there was a flashback of Clem and babysitter in episode 1 where she had a phone call with her mom from Atlanta, and this is basically giving more detail from the second question. And then you can see that Lingard's model was originally created to be a guy named Mason, who was the mastermind of New Frontiers group in an early iteration of the story. So basically Lingard, which is the doctor, was initially going to be the bad guy, I guess. So that's pretty interesting. And then the last part says that the guy who stabbed Javi in episode 4 and was eaten by walkers in episode 5 was originally supposed to be a Spanish-speaking engineer that Javi could use in the original plan to use skills to communicate with, and he was being guarded by Ava, who was envisioned as a former MMA fighter who had found a role as a prison guard for the New Frontiers. That's pretty interesting. Ava was going to be a bodyguard instead of the actual sidekick to David, so that's pretty cool. Let me know what you guys think of the questions so far. I'm probably going to do 2 more or 3 more, but again, let me know in the comments what you guys think of these questions and answers. But let's move on to the 4th question right now. Here's a small little question, but somebody asks if Javi and his family will suffer the same fate as Kenny and Jane, meaning that now we're going into the 4th season. The person that's asking this question is wondering if we're gonna see Javier and his family again season 4, and if they're gonna be killed off like Kenny and Jane did, where they only had a couple scenes and then they just got killed off. But Telltale replies with no, so that's a good thing. I mean, a lot of people kind of hate Javier and his family, but personally, I like his family. I like Javier, so I'm happy that they said no to this, because I'm really excited to see Javi with AJ and Clementine and whatever. So there's that. Let's move on. Here's the last 2 questions that I picked. The first one was, why did you decide to leave AJ's fate on a cliffhanger instead of resolving it in the finale? They replied with that we felt strongly that the story of Clem finding AJ needed to be told from Clem's perspective, and there wasn't enough room in the finale episode with everything else going on to do the story justice. So meaning by that is season 3 / A New Frontier was basically told from Javier's point of view. So it would have just been weird if it translated to Clementine's point of view. So I feel like that's kind of a better option, because then in season 4 we're actually gonna have like a full-out Clem story and actually beat Clem again. So even though we probably hate it now, even though we're mad that didn't show up in the finale, I feel like we're gonna love it once the game actually comes out later on. So there's that. And the last question, this is kind of a little small, not a lot of people really care about this one, but if anybody was wondering, Hector, which is this guy, people were wondering who Hector was to David, and basically Hector was David and Javier's uncle. I thought Hector was Javi and David's second brother, or the 3rd brother of the family, but he is actually their uncle. So there's that. Again, for the 5th time I said this, I will put the post in the description. You guys can check it out, read the last remaining questions. There's actually a ton of questions, so you guys can read the remaining questions that I didn't talk about, and I'll see you guys later for more Walking Dead videos on my channel. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.